First things first. I don't want to overreact to a 1-point loss to a good team, so I'm not gonna. Simple as that. That team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, is very much Washington's equal. That's a good thing. That's a good team. Commanders, you're a good football team. It was a 1-point game. A 1-point game that had a bunch of bad calls in it, both ways. We'll talk about it. But including in that bad call, in my opinion, a first down call that should have been made at the end of the game with Zach Ertz that would have put Washington on the verge of field goal range. And let's say for a second they get that call and they get another 5 yards, and then Zane Gonzalez, he gets to be the latest kicking hero, replacing Austin Seibert, and the Commanders win 30-28. How much different are we talking about today, that game? Not very differently. We shouldn't. And so just because, yes, the L hurts. Yes, it is pain in the standings. Yes, you could have entered the week against Philadelphia with an extra game in hand before you play Philadelphia. All of these things are true, but I do think it is worth saying that was a 1-point football game, which they lost to another good team. And so, yeah, this loss stings. And Quinn talked about it afterwards, as did a bunch of guys on the team. And they should feel that, because they should understand the lesson, to use Dan's language, is to say, against good teams, everything matters. But this isn't a team that's incapable of making winning plays. They've done it time and again this season. They just didn't. That's the NFL. So let's talk about the not winning plays and some of them that went down, but also within the context acknowledging that this is still a good football team, and that doesn't change with a 1-point loss to another good football team. All right, some more details from this game.
Number 4.
Pittsburgh was aggressive. I've watched all the All-22 offense, and I've started to get going on the defense too. Obviously, full tape review tomorrow during Take Command with Logan, but Pittsburgh was aggressive in shutting down Jayden Daniels as a runner in this game. They actually ran probably 7, 8, maybe 9 or 10 zone reads in this game. And the second the Pittsburgh edge felt that he was unblocked, which is what you do in a zone read, a read option, right? You leave a player unblocked. If that player commits to the running back, quarterback pulls it out and runs. If that player commits to the quarterback or is non-committal, now you've got numbers on the front side. They were really good at covering up the front side, but the second TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith or Preston Smith, whoever it was on that edge, felt like they were unblocked, they sprinted their face off at Jayden Daniels. And so he even got hit on a couple of those, took some bumps, and it just completely took away Jayden as a runner. Patrick Queen also had a great day. You call it a spy or just call it being diligent, chasing down Daniels. They were awesome in terms of, instead of creating a pocket, they almost box you in. They set really high vertical edges, and then the interior guys are really good. They also blitzed a little bit more than they had previously. They just had an awesome plan for Daniels as a runner, and as a result, he was completely ineffective as a runner for the first time all year.
Number 5.
Because of that, this was the game that Jayden, quote-unquote, most looked like a rookie since the Tampa game in the opener. But I actually wouldn't even phrase it that way once you think about it a little bit more. I think he looked like a quarterback that was facing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers are really, really good defensively. He was unable to do some of the things he normally does. He's felt a little bit sped up. Nothing changed about his game except for the opponent in a lot of ways. Some of those windows got a little tighter. Some of the throws had to be made a little bit faster. Some of the scrambles aren't there because Patrick Queen is somehow just as fast as Jayden Daniels and played the best game he's played all year. So Jayden's amazing. He did some high level stuff at times in this game. There's obviously quite a number of drops. There's some missed throws, but all in all, I mostly put that on a good defense.
Number 6.
The one area where, man, that got even more emphasized was the tackle play in this game for Washington was not good. And it is amplified by the fact that you're facing Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. Coleman had a pretty nightmarish day after having a really good week in his first time as a full-time starter. But Alex Highsmith is a pro's pro, and he just absolutely bullied him all day, whether it was bull rushes, whether it was speed around the edge, dipping inside. Pittsburgh also knew, like, hey, that's a rookie that hasn't seen a lot of stuff yet, and a lot of the help is going to go to their fourth tackle and Trent Scott on the other side against TJ Watt. So they ran some stunts and some picks and all these different things at Brandon Coleman, and he had trouble picking some of it up of, like, who am I even supposed to be blocking in the first place? And that sped Jayden up quite a bit. Meanwhile, the run game is really where the right side hurt. And Trent Scott not having the power, the mobility, and the punch that Andrew Wiley has really, really hurt this run game. Obviously, B-Rob not being there hurts it as well. But even, for instance, I'll give you one play. The hold on John Bates. What's supposed to happen there is Trent Scott should get enough of whoever was crashing in there. I think it was Hayward. Needs to get enough so that he slows him down and allows Bates to get over in front of him and seal that block. Instead, Scott just nothing punches the air, gets up to the second level on the double team, and Bates is left behind like, how the heck am I supposed to hit this block? He's out leveraged. The idea is that the first guy in the double team creates better leverage so that the second guy can get over. It turns then into a solo block, and then the first guy leaves for the next level. And the timing, the lack of power, all that kind of stuff leaves Bates screwed. He winds up getting the hold, knocks out a first down carry for Chris Rodriguez. Now, on the very next play, they get away, by the way, with a hold in the end zone. TJ Watt probably should have been a safety, but that's the play where Jayden misses Luke McCaffrey. Could have made up for it, but they didn't, and that is kind of the state of play for tackles, and hopefully it's better on Thursday. One, because the Eagles' edges aren't as good. Some of the alignments are not as tricky, and also hopefully Wiley is back and Cornelius Lucas is back. At least one, if not both of them.
Number 7.
I don't know what the hell has happened to the Commanders' screen game, but Austin Eckler literally can't get open on a screen anymore, and I don't know whether it's him not doing a good job of getting to the right spaces in time. He looks like he runs into people a lot, and I'm like, dude, it's a screen. Get where Jayden can see you and be where you're supposed to be. But also, it might not be on Eckler. It might be on the offensive linemen who are not, sending the defensive line past them in the right ways. Sometimes they're taking on blocks and getting bumped into Eckler. I don't know whether Jayden is fading at the right angles and with enough depth to kind of draw the defense towards him so that way he can lob the ball over the top to Eckler. I don't know if he trusts lobbing the ball over the top to a 5'7" Austin Eckler. Wide receiver screen, same thing. They haven't been as crisp the last couple of weeks. I don't know what is happening. It's a conversation I'm going to have on the pod tomorrow with Logan. And I've been talking to a couple of reporter friends, and they're going to ask around a little bit. And I'm curious if, we won't get Cliff again until next Thursday, but I'm curious if someone can find anything out. But that is a problem for Washington that they need to fix. They were so good, so detail-oriented on those screens earlier in the season, and they hit a ton of them. And they had hit the ones that they had run for kind of the middle stretch, but they had reduced the volume. Now it feels like they can't hit any of them. And obviously they had like the throwback attempt. They had the one where Diami and Terry both try to catch the ball. It was a mess yesterday, and it really hurt them in some big spots because those are not only ways for them to stay on schedule, but potential big plays that get lost.
Number 8.
4th and 4 in the third quarter, right before Zane Gonzalez kicks a field goal. Actually, he kicks it on that 4th and 4. I wish they would have gone for it. I am very over short field goals, especially with an offense this potent and a defense that's frankly playing down in, down out pretty well. If you don't get a field goal, if you miss, especially if you're like inside the 20-yard line, and that one was a little bit farther away, this one bothers me less, but by and large, if it's a 30-yard field goal, don't kick it. Go for it. What's the worst that happens outside of something that could also happen deeper in the field, like a blocked field goal? Okay, you don't get the 4th down, right? Okay, now they have the ball at their own 8. Play some defense. They're probably going to be conservative play calling. And defensive coaches often will be like, and really offensive coaches too, like everybody, right? I'm not trying to pick on DQ or anybody else here, but they're like, oh, well, the momentum. Like, okay, tell your defense that's what's up. Hey, guys, we're going to be really aggressive and going for it on 4th down because we believe in you. So if our offense doesn't get it done, by the way, an offense that's 11 for 11 on the season on 4th downs, then we trust you as a defense to get the job done. So you get a quick 3 and out or 4, 5 and out. They get a 1st down and they punt, and you hopefully get good field position because they were starting the drive from their own 8. And again, that wasn't the exact situation there, but the reason I mentioned that exact situation, which was a little bit farther away, it was a short 40s field goal, is Jayden Daniels said after the game, hey, he was listening, the what ifs, and he said, one of them that he said is, maybe if we go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal, it's a different game. I think he wanted to go for that one. Not that there's I'm not trying to create like some friction or fraction that isn't there, but it shows you the aggressiveness of Daniels. And Quinn's gotten a lot of those situations right this year because there are games that he has managed really well, knowing that the aggressive meter needed to be turned down a little bit because the other offense was bad. I didn't think that was one of those games, one of those situations. I wish they had just gone for it, but that's just me.
Number 9.
Number 9, shout out to a Pittsburgh Steeler who doesn't get enough love. Deshaun Elliott, number 25, their safety. That dude is freaking awesome. He is all over the tape. He is fast. He is physical. He just rockets people at the line of scrimmage. He blew up a bunch of stuff. And between TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick and Patrick Queen, a lot of bigger names on that defense, Joey Porter Jr., who, by the way, if anybody calls this week and says, I wish they would have taken Joey Porter Jr. last year, how did they mess that up? That guy should be where St. Juice is. Then I'm just going to hang up on you. Because while I agree with you that Joey Porter Jr. is a better player, the worst corner arguably on the field yesterday was Joey Porter Jr. Terry and Noah had their way with him left, right, and sideways. Up, down, and sideways, north, west, every single direction. They torched that dude yesterday. So it happens because it's the NFL and it's hard. But Deshaun Elliott's freaking awesome, and he had a great game yesterday.
Number 10.
Last but not least, the referees. I hate the call with Ertz. I think when a receiver catches the ball coming back, the furthest most point is where he's supposed to get it. It is not the same as catching the ball, then running forward. Also, where they marked it was horrendous. At no point in that play was the ball at the 42-yard line. The 41 was the line to gain. It looked like the 40-ish, 40 or 41 point something is where he caught it. Just a heinously bad spot. A heinously bad lack of respot and review. And if they had respotted the ball and said he was an inch short, I would have said, yeah, all right, fine. But to not respot the ball, absolute joke. And here's the thing that I would say by and large, because there are some other missed calls. The Pickens on St. Juice face mask, horrendous. How Pickens is not ejected from that game for what he did to Mike Sainer still, when a referee breaks up the fight, I do not know. But, yeah, they also missed a hold on the field goal attempt where John Bates horse collars Adoree Jackson, or Dante Jackson. They missed TJ Watt getting held in the end zone that should have been a safety. And the point is, stop missing so much stuff. This is a $1 billion operation in the NFL. How are we this bad at this? How is it every single week in every close game, every fan base has legitimate gripes about missed calls? I know it is hard, but there has got to be a better way than this. They have billions of dollars. Figure it out. And specific to the first down stuff, how do we not have a high-definition camera aligned straight down the first down line on every single snap? It is patently absurd in a league with this much money that something this routine is screwed up this badly because they have dudes with chains out there and then referees trying to spot the ball who aren't on the first down line. What are we doing? There's got to be a better way. It is a $1 billion operation. It didn't cost the Commanders the game because there were bad calls both ways, but that's not the point. The point is the officiating stunk, and it stinks way too much. So Roger Goodell, please freaking fix it. Amen. That is 1st and 10.